For a resident in Paraguay, does it make sense to open a foundation in Panama? The more a person has, the more they stand to lose. That's why asset protection becomes increasingly important as someone's wealth grows. If you're a global citizen, someone who chose Paraguay as their residence to optimize taxes, who set up their company elsewhere for fiscal or banking convenience, who holds multiple residency permits and maybe even several passports, it's only natural to also consider a structure that allows you to defend your assets. Among all the structures created for asset protection, the Panamanian Foundation is the most popular and well-known. It's like Paraguay for tax residency, or the US LLC for online business, and so on. So, here's how a private interest foundation in Panama actually works. There is a founder, the person who creates the foundation and transfers the assets to it. Normally though, people choose to use their law firm that they hire as the founder. That's because the founder's data isn't secret, but public.
This gotta be secret. Absolutely. We gotta protect the identity of the beneficiary. No one can ever know. At all cost, we'll guard the secret with our own life. Are you recording this? No.
The founder is not the owner of the foundation because by its very nature, a Panamanian foundation does not have an owner. Instead, it's governed by people and tools of control that we'll explore in a second, but especially, it's controlled by a founding deed. This is the fundamental document, notarized, which states who the founder of the foundation is and what the purpose of it is. Then there are private bylaws that mention the oversight bodies, the responsibilities and how they are assigned, and most importantly, who the beneficiaries of the foundation are. The bylaws are not public and therefore all the information they contain, it's just private. Now, among the tools and people who control the foundation, the most important body is the Founding Council. This is a council that must be composed of at least 3 natural persons, or alternatively, it can consist of a single legal entity. So, you have 2 options. You can be on it yourself, along with 2 members that can be from the law firm you hire or your family members, or many law firms offer also the creation of an offshore company that can serve as the sole member of the Founding Council and that, of course, can have you as its own manager. The Founding Council basically acts as a board of directors. It manages the foundation's assets and makes decisions about what to invest in, what to distribute, what to sell, always in accordance with the founding deed and the bylaws. The founder can also be one of the members of the Founding Council, there's no problem, and can even be the beneficiary. The Founding Council can also appoint another super important role, the protector. This role is special because once appointed, let's say that the protector has the final say. In fact, the protector's duty is to oversee the foundation to ensure that the founding deed's intentions are respected and that assets are being used properly. If they choose, the protector has the unique ability to remove council members and appoint new ones.
Behold, I am the protector of the Panama Foundation.
Finally, there is the beneficiary, the person entitled to use and enjoy the assets deposited in the foundation. In a typical case, it'll be you, your children, or whomever you choose. Be reminded that the beneficiaries are not the owners of what's inside the foundation, but they can use it freely. For example, there may be periodic payments, lump sums, or usufruct rights over real estate. The beneficiary per se has no active management role in the foundation. And so, what's the point of this all? It's to protect your assets. everything in the foundation becomes very difficult to seize because it belongs to the foundation itself, and the foundation, again, belongs to no one.
Good evening, sir. I got a court order, and this allows me to get this.
Not so fast, man. This is not mine. See this thing?
Oh, what do I do now?
It's none of my problems. Essentially, it protects you from three situations. First are creditors. If you lose a lawsuit, for example, a creditor may try to seize your assets. Assets that have been in the foundation for more than 3 years cannot be attacked in any way. And those placed in the foundation less than 3 years earlier technically can. But since Panama doesn't recognize foreign court rulings, the only way is to win a legal battle in Panama itself, which is very, very hard. That makes attacking foundation assets very difficult even within the 3-year window. Second is divorce. Since the assets in the foundation are not yours, a judge cannot consider them as part of your marital estate.
In the matter of this divorce, the court hereby rules that she gets half of everything.
Look, everything I own to my name that is not in the foundation. Is this sandwich, you want half? And third are inheritance rules. In many countries, laws dictate how an estate must be distributed. In Italy, for example, only 30% of what you have is free to dispose of, while 70% must be distributed according to statutory rules. And all of this doesn't even cost that much, because setting up with a reputable Panamanian law firm would cost you anywhere between $1,500 and $2,000. Anything higher, in my opinion, is highly unjustified, since the actual government fees are about $600. There's also an annual fee of $400 paid directly to Panama, plus any fees if the law firm serves on the council or as protector. Fully managed annual upkeep generally ranges from $1,500 to $3,000. Now that we've covered the advantages, let's also take a look at the downsides. First, it's a complex structure with a lot of bureaucracy. You can't just sell shares on a whim, you must follow the founding deed and ensure that the council agrees, so there is more red tape to any decision. I propose that we buy a mega yacht. Let's put it to a vote. All in favor, raise your hands. Sounds great, bro. 2 hands up, man. No, we should invest this money more wisely. All those opposed to being awesome? Dai, oh, ma che palle che sei! Cazzo! Sembra veramente assurda sta cosa.
Behold, I am the protector of the Panama Foundation. Guys, I got you a cooler one.
And if you control the offshore company that is the sole council member, then you also shoulder all the costs of setting up and maintaining that offshore company. Second is the banking side, as always. The more complex your tax structure, the more you'll need niche banks and accept higher costs for every transaction. Even someone with just a US LLC and Paraguayan residency knows this. Wise and Revolut accounts are no longer accessible, and you're forced to use smaller banks with higher fees than your colleague back home in Germany that just regularly works as a mechanic. Each added layer of complexity will make your banking worse. To get a bank account for a Panamanian foundation, for example, many people set up a US LLC owned by the foundation. That way, the LLC can do business and have a bank account, but the proceeds belong to the foundation. Again, assuming that you'll find a bank that accepts an LLC non-resident and owned by a Panamanian foundation, which is not necessarily easy. Now, imagine doing KYB in 2025 and explaining that the LLC is owned by a Panamanian foundation and that the foundation has no owner because, well, that's how foundations work. I'd like to open a bank account for my Panama Foundation, sir.
Why, of course, sir. You do have more than $5 million in assets, right?
No, I don't really.
Oh, okay, then I think I have the solution for your problems.
Your odds of getting approved are very low, and even if approved, your odds of getting an account shut down are actually high. This becomes less of an issue only if you have more than $5 million in assets, since at that level different banking options open up. A third common issue is that people think they can just borrow money from the foundation, have the loan forgiven, and then use the funds completely tax-free. In practice, however, they lend themselves the foundation's money and then cancel the debt. But if you're a tax resident in Paraguay, beware. Here, as in most countries, forgiven debts are fully taxable as income. This rule exists precisely to prevent people from using forgiven loans as tax-free payments. Money and assets received by beneficiaries from the foundation must be declared and taxed in the beneficiary's country of residence according to local rules. So, there's no direct tax on being a beneficiary, but any transfer of assets or money from the foundation to you is taxable under your country's law. And again, forgiven loans or those not matching legal terms are almost always taxable pretty much worldwide. So, who would I recommend a Panamanian foundation to? First, anyone at risk of lawsuits due to prominent roles, such as big entrepreneurs, people running large companies, maybe with multiple shareholders and so on. Second, anyone getting married or already married who wants to complete the protection of his personal assets. Lastly, anyone with a large inheritance to leave behind but little trust in how their heirs would manage the money. In that case, you can ensure assets are protected by the council and that the beneficiaries will only receive periodic sums generated by the foundation's returns. On the other hand, considering the costs, the bureaucracy, and the banking limits, I wouldn't recommend it for anyone with less than 2 million euros in assets or without exposure to potential lawsuits. If you're 23, you're single, making a living out of, I don't know, trading crypto, well, you don't need a Panamanian foundation and all its costs, but if you're 65, you own a holding with several companies, you have a 22-year-old wife who married you for some dubious reasons, and your son just spends his life playing PlayStation and couldn't run a lemonade stand, then you probably should open one immediately after finishing this video. Paraguay Pathways doesn't directly handle these structures, but we're happy to connect our interested clients with top Panamanian law firms that specialize in setting up, advising, and managing private interest foundations. I hope this video has given you a clearer picture of how this type of structure works. So, for now, that's all from Asunción for today, and I'll see you in Paraguay. Hey, we're still getting that mega yacht, aren't we?
Three, two, one, go.
If I don't have the line, it's useless, guys. So, here is how Foundation of Private Interest into Panama works.
It was really cool. They
The thing is that it's on the rifle, and so it will never stay. Okay, now it works. And you can put the sound effect of the cats going like.
We could do that again. Sorry.
Mano, sitting.
No, I forget about the
Minha marcada.
Can we get one more shot of you throwing it at him?
Okay, I can do it better.
Go.
No!